Is there any chance that he ends up in Tampa Bay with you guys next year? Has there
69% chance.
a 69% chance? Where are you getting that number from, can I ask?
That's just, you asked if there's a chance, I give you a number.
All right, look, do you think he has another year in him?
Yeah.
You do?
He'll be back.
He'll be back?
He'll be back.
You think?
There's Gronk on brand, asked whether or not he thinks Julian Edelman will be a Buccaneer in 2021. Only Gronk would say there's a 69% chance. His second response about Edelman emerging from retirement, more unequivocal than 69. It sounded more like 99.999. Charean, this meshes with the first thing I thought yesterday when I saw that Edelman had been released. And even after watching that video is not binding. I still remember watching the press conference when Brett Favre bawled and squalled and unretired 3 times after that. Nothing prevents a guy from coming back. As of right now, Julian Edelman says, I was going to play until the wheels came off. The wheel came off. Well, between now and November or December, they can put the wheel back on. That's what wheels do. They come off, they get put back on. You get a hammer, you bang it back into place. And I think that's what Julian Edelman is going to think about doing, try to do. And ultra cynical view, I checked with the league. Since he's been cut, he won't be tested under the PED policy. He can go use whatever he was using when he got busted 3 years ago. And I feel comfortable saying this because he did get busted for PEDs. Do what you have to do, take what you have to take, get yourself back to the point where your knee's in good shape, cycle off, show up, get tested, be clean, play for the Buccaneers, pursue what for him would be Super Bowl number 4. I am going to be surprised if that doesn't happen. Not the PED stuff. I'm just saying that he could if he wants to. I'm going to be surprised if we don't see Julian Edelman back, especially after hearing what Gronk had to say.
First, Mike, when I'm watching the Gronk video, the first thing that came to my mind was we've talked a lot about the number changes, right? Going to single digits. I wish the NFL would just open it up because you know what number that Rob Gronkowski is going to pick to wear, right? He's going to wear 69 if he would get that opportunity. Of course, he doesn't have that opportunity. Isn't going to get that opportunity, but I could see him wanting that jersey number. But to Edelman, yeah, Mike, there's a possibility that he's going to come back and play for the Buccaneers. I think there's a good possibility if that knee can get healed enough to get him back on the field. I just feel that. And the key was that he got released. He's not on the retired list. He's released. He can go do what he wants to do. He played 6 games, 1 start this past season with a bad knee, and had his career best in yards per catch, over 15 yards per catch this season. He could still get downfield for 6 games. Can he do it for a whole season? It doesn't sound like it. But if you get him back in December, he's ready for the postseason run. He knows the offense. Hey, nothing precludes you from giving him the playbook right now, as a matter of fact. You could let him start learning the playbook whenever. But, you know, I could see him coming back and playing for that postseason run and then being ready for the postseason. And we know what he does in the postseason. That's when he's been at his best.
There's a subtext to all that, and I'm glad you pointed it out, because it's entirely possible that the Patriots pushed him to retire, and he said, I don't really want to retire. I don't really want to. Well, we're going to cut you then. So they cut him. He retires. It's this big production. It just doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't he just go on the reserve retired list? See, doing it this way, it avoids what happened with Gronk. Gronk went on the reserve retired list, and then the Buccaneers had to give up draft pick compensation to get Rob Gronkowski. This gives Edelman the free and clear ability to come back if he's healthy enough. And Charean, I still can't reconcile the retirement with the report last week from Karen Guregian of the Boston Herald that it's doubtful that Edelman will be able to play every game this year. That implies that he can play some. And that fits with this idea. Yeah. You bring him in late. You get him up to speed in December. He's ready to go for the postseason. You can end up having a guy who helps you win games. You know, they added Tom Brady's equivalent to James White with Gio Bernard. Their equivalent to Julian Edelman very well could be Julian Edelman, and that's next level of this Buccaneers offense, having that guy who shares a brain with Tom Brady. Brady knows where he's going to be. He knows where Brady's going to throw it. They know exactly how to make it work, and I suspect that Edelman is going to be doing everything he can between now and whenever, trying to get that knee to respond. And the only reason, again, I mention the fact that he's free and clear for PED testing is because he's already been suspended once. If he had never been popped, I wouldn't have even thought of it. But this is a way to do whatever you feel like you have to do that may not comply with the NFL's PED policy to get the knee to recover, and then you come back and you have one last ride and you try to win Super Bowl number 4 and walk off into the sunset as a champion.
He has more targets and more catches than any other receiver from Tom Brady in history. I mean, the two are BFFs on the field. There's no doubt about that. Brady trusts him. He knows where he's going to be. And in big-time games, in big-time moments, as Brady said in his statement yesterday, that's the guy he goes to. I don't think anyone is going to be surprised if at some point during this season Julian Edelman signs with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If he signs somewhere else, I will say yes, I'm surprised he signed anywhere else. But I am not going to be surprised if he returns at some point this season with the Buccaneers, Mike.
April Fool's Day is an occasion for guys to, under the guise of joking, letting us know what they really want. And Julian Edelman's April Fool's Day gag was to joke that he may be heading for the Buccaneers, and I don't think it was entirely a joke or at all a joke. We'll see how it plays out. One more point on Edelman. We've talked before about Hall of Fame. Charean, you have a vote. I don't want one. That's my cover for never being offered one. But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's done enough. Hines Ward's a Super Bowl MVP. Hines Ward's got incredibly greater statistics regular season. There's a lot of other guys who are more rewarding. But let's let Gronk have the word on it for now. Here's more from that TMZ walk and talk with Rob Gronkowski on whether or not Julian Edelman is a Hall of Famer.
A lot of people are asking now that he's done, is he a Hall of Famer?
Jules? Yeah, he's a Patriot Hall of Famer for sure.
A Patriot Hall of Famer.
100%.
NFL Hall of Famer?
I definitely think he has a great possibility of being a Hall of Famer.
You know, the regular season numbers maybe fall a tad short. His postseason numbers are incredible, right?
Yeah, he's a beast. I mean, the numbers just don't show everything that he brings to the table. You know, just the attitude and competitiveness that he has.
Two quick observations. One, there's a greater than 69% chance that your mask isn't going to work if you don't cover your nose. Two, Gronk tried to be very diplomatic there. He evaded the question, he's a Patriots Hall of Famer. Well, what about the one that people really care about? Well, he's definitely got a great possibility. No, look, the regular season numbers aren't nearly good enough. Postseason numbers, awesome. Regular season, not even close to having the discussion, Charean. And I've seen the argument made, well, he was stuck behind Wes Welker. Well, if you're a Hall of Famer, you should be able to run Wes Welker to the sideline. And you should be the slot receiver if you're ultimately going to have a Hall of Fame career. You don't have a Hall of Fame career based upon the fact that guy finally got a chance to start and he played pretty well. No. Your full career, your full body of work is what dictates whether or not you get in. And I just think that the regular season isn't there, especially given all the receivers nowadays that have numbers that dwarf the Julian Edelman career numbers.
I've said for a long time that you don't use Pro Bowls as much anymore as an indicator of whether a guy is a Hall of Famer or not, because we have normally, yet last year was an aberration because of COVID. Normally we have over 100 Pro Bowlers every single year because of the Super Bowl. Participants don't play in the Pro Bowl and because of injury replacements. There's a ton of guys. Everybody makes a Pro Bowl. Everybody makes multiple Pro Bowls. The only time you use Pro Bowls for an argument for the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, and what I look for when I'm looking at Hall of Famers, is if you don't have enough. And when you have 0 Pro Bowls, that tells me that you were not ever one of the top receivers normally in your conference. Sometimes we didn't do it by conferences when Julian Edelman played, but you were not even one of the top receivers in your conference. That to me is huge when you're talking about Hall of Fame. Forget all decade, forget all pro, because he wasn't any of that either. And then if you just want to talk about his stats, 75th in career catches, 156, ahead of Larry Centers barely in yards. His 36 career touchdowns don't even rank in the top 200. He's not a Hall of Famer. He was a great player in the postseason. Maybe you compare him to Terrell Davis, but Terrell Davis was better in the regular season for a shorter period of time. But Terrell Davis made All-Pros, made Pro Bowls. With Julian Edelman, to me, he just wasn't good enough in the regular season to be considered for the Hall of Fame, and that's okay. He was very good. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He did a lot of great things. He's in the Hall of Very Good, and that's great. Not everyone has to go in the Hall of Fame. It diminishes it when we talk about guys who don't belong in there, and I don't think he belongs in there. He had a great career. That should be good enough, Mike.
I agree completely. And the one thing that you didn't mention, we've talked about it in reference to other guys, that PED, black mark on the resume, not something that comes up very often in the room. That's another knock against.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.